Welcome back, everybody. This Week in America. Thank you for listening and watching today's program. Gordon Tredgold is a former corporate warrior, now writes, speaks, and coaches on leadership, achieving results, and driving success. Gordon preaches simplicity in everything and has developed the FAST approach. And his mission, well, it's to help people exceed their potential and achieve amazing results. Gordon has been recognized by Inc. magazine as one of the top 100 leadership and management experts and speakers. He was selected by Evan Carmichael as the #1 leadership expert to follow on Twitter. Gordon has the #4 most socially shared leadership blog and has written for Addicted to Success, Business Insider, Entrepreneur, Huffington Post, and many more. The author of 3 books, including his newest, FAST, 4 Principles Every Business Needs to Achieve Success and Drive Business. FAST, by the way, is a CMI Management Book of the Year finalist. Gordon is also a visiting professor at Staffordshire University. And Gordon Tredgold, our guest on today's This Week in America. Gordon, welcome to the program. Great to have you with us.
Oh, my pleasure to be here.
I really enjoyed having the chance to read FAST, and it is a quick read, a lot of great information there. And what's interesting in your background, and let's go back to the early years in Leeds, England, your passion for rugby and mathematics, your passion for rugby at that early age, that really shaped who you are today, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. It was, the first team I ever played with when I was 9 years old. We were an average team, and we kind of, it's slightly different the way sports are set up in England to America. But if you could imagine, we ended the season as the lowest wild card entry, with a pretty average season, 8-8, and then we made it through to the final, and we beat a team that was pretty much undefeated, and that was all through great leadership by our coach. He created a simple plan, got us focused on the right things, and that really came on to me that you can take a group of people who might not be the most skilled and still turn them into a great team. It's not always about great individuals. It's about great motivation, great planning, and then great execution.
Well, and that's one of the lessons you learn playing rugby that has carried over to your very successful business life. It's not always the best team that wins. More often than not, it's the best prepared, and that preparation was a key. Like you said, you went through the regular season. I'm sure people saw you in the pairings, and it's like, oh, great, we're gonna walk through these guys, and suddenly they're losing, they're going home, and you're still playing rugby, and everybody else is watching.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. It's true. It's the best prepared and the team with the best attitude that wins. And if you can couple that with, I think that's one of the reasons why LeBron is so fantastic. He has that preparation, the skill, and the attitude. But a lot of times, especially in companies, they just have the skill, and they don't have the right leadership to bring that preparation and attitude, so you can get maximum return from the team.
And it's interesting, as you were playing rugby, they would point to you and say, that Tredgold, he's a good kid, but he's too small to play this game. You really learned at that point, okay, I'm going to show you guys. And from what I understand and from your reaction there, you really enjoyed that. It's like, okay, you think I'm too small? Watch this.
I think... and I share that attitude with a lot of people. Okay, I'll show you now, and that attitude will take you an awfully long way. Yeah, I was invariably with the smallest player on the field, but if you're the smallest player and you've got a pretty big heart, you can go a long way. The big challenge is, of course, that to get to the very pinnacle. It doesn't matter how much heart I've got. I'm not going to beat LeBron James one-on-one. There is a limit to what we can do, but we can all do so much more.
You're listening to This Week in America. Our guest on the program is Gordon Tredgold, Tredgold. His website is gordontredgold.com. The new book is FAST, 4 Principles Every Business Needs to Achieve Success and Drive Results. The book is doing incredibly well all across the country. In fact, all across the world. You can find it at the usual places for book purchases. And you go to our website, thisweekinamerica.us, and link on directly. Also, at an early age, you decided, I really like this problem solving. And maybe that goes back to not just the rugby, but the mathematics background that you had. And then you decided, okay, how can I take this and do something professionally with it? And you were able to use those problem solving skills and winning attitude and make a career out of that, a very successful career out of that.
Yeah, I worked I studied mathematics, and I was always good at two things in mathematics: pattern recognition and problem solving. So I was always good at spotting the underlying issues and making sure I was, picking up the right thing to fix and then solving it. And I actually set up a team when I was about 27, 28, and I was doing quite well professionally then. And after I built that team and it was a big success, I thought, why aren't I doing this in my professional world? I love rugby, and it's great that I've started a team and we've done really well. But why don't I take that same approach? And I just decided, okay, every project that looked like it was a complex project, the ones that nobody else wanted, I signed up for them. And there's a double advantage to doing the projects that nobody else wants or that they think will fail. If it fails, it's no surprise to anybody. But if you succeed, now you're a world beater. So for me, it was kind of a no lose option.
Yeah, and you were able to take that and to climb up the corporate ladder by doing that, and had some amazing success, taking projects that they thought would take a year and a half, and suddenly Gordon's coming back in and problem solved. The project is up and successful, and you would do it in 3 months. Talk
Yeah.
about and you did this for a number of companies across, three continents, a number of Fortune 100 companies. I get the impression each place you learned something, you picked up, you increased your knowledge, different continents, different countries, and different companies.
Yeah, yeah, you're absolutely right. And the first the my career kind of splits into two phases. When I played rugby, I played, for people that follow football, I kind of played a mix between centre and defensive tackle, nose tackle. That was the kind of position I played. So I was always a lead from the front kind of person. This is where we're going, follow me, and I'll drive it home. And that was kind of like the first part of my career. And I learned that if people will follow a leader, if the leader is prepared to roll his sleeves up and get in and show the way. And I delivered some pretty big projects with that. But then the second part of my career, and what made the really big incremental change in results, was when I started working in different countries and managing bigger teams, and then it became less about me leading from the front and more about me coaching them, creating plans that they could use. And because I was working internationally, I was often dealing with teams with multiple different mother tongues. And the only way I could communicate with them all to the same level of understanding is if I kept everything very, very simple. And once I started doing that, really started to leverage the team. So I had that ability to step in and get involved, but I also had that ability to, communicate clearly to large groups, give them confidence in the plans, and then get them started. And of course, from a sporting background, every time you have a minor success, if you score a point, everybody's always, giving each other a pat on the back. So you do all of that with recognition, and you can create a team that can move mountains.
You share all that information in the new book, Fast, 4 Principles Every Business Needs to Achieve Success and Drive Results. Fast is focus, accountability, simplicity, and transparency. That really, despite whatever language you're working with, that really resonates, doesn't it? Those are 4 simple words, and if you sort of apply that in your mind as you're tackling a problem or going about business every day, it puts things in a successful perspective, doesn't it?
It does. And when people ask me what do I mean by fast, focus is about the what. What's our goal? What's our objective? And we have to be clear about our what. accountability is the who, and then the simplicity is the how. And if you've got the right answer to what, who, and how, you're really well and truly set up for success. And then the transparency is the how far do we have to go and how far have we gone and still got to go. And if you can answer those four questions and keep them in the top of everybody's mind, everything else kind of just melts away. And it allows us to keep it simple, communicate with our teams, what they need to do, when they need to do it, how they need to do it. And with the transparency, once you start to see success, it motivates teams. Everybody wants to play for a winning team. And if we can create success, they'll work even harder to achieve more of it.
Let's go back to focus. We live in a very complicated world. We have a tendency, I think, sometimes maybe to overcomplicate the world that we live in. But I wonder sometimes as we approach problems, and I see it in what we do as well, maybe sometimes we don't really have the goal in proper focus. Do you find that a lot? I mean, focus seems like that's real simple, but often we go into a project and we're not totally focused.
Yeah, absolutely. And what happens with focus is sometimes we're under time pressure, so we just dive in and we haven't fully understood. We think we have, but we haven't.
Right.
And once we get that misunderstanding, it doesn't matter how well we do the wrong thing, we're going to struggle. And for me personally, that was a very painful experience as I was growing up, because I was always one of the smart kids in school. I was always in the top five in any school that I was at, but I was very rarely number one, and that's because I worked so quickly. I would often misread the question and give the wrong answer to a question they never asked. Sorry, I'd give them the right answer, but to a question they'd never asked.
Quite a bit of what you do, and the website is a lot of great information there, GordonTredgold.com. You go to our website, thisweekinamerica.us, and link on directly. The book is Fast, 4 Principles Every Business Needs to Achieve Success and Drive Results. You talk a lot about failure, and you've said people are not afraid of hard work, they're afraid of failure. And you talked before about you would jump in and take some of these complex problems that nobody else wanted, obviously for fear of failure and have that stigma that he tried that project, she tried that project and failed. How do you get over that fear of failure, knowing it's okay, I tried, I did my best, I learned from it, go to the next project?
Well, it's not so much the overcoming failure. And that is a big part of what defines who we are. What I'm talking there about, people are not afraid of hard work, they're afraid of failure. It's when they look at something, if they cannot see how they will be successful, they're never going to give you 110%, because there's always in the back of the mind, this is never going to work. And then once it starts to go badly, heads drop. And people go, oh, I knew this was going to happen. You see it in sport all the time. If a team goes and plays at an opponent who they believe is better than them, if that team scores early, heads go down and it can become a rout. Even though they might have been good enough to actually beat them. And what we have to do is we have to give people a plan that they believe in. They have to show them examples of other people who have done this and communicate and set things up so we get a little bit of early success. So you've given them an approach that they can see how it could work. You get them some early wins and you give them feedback on that, and then people will work really, really hard. But if people cannot see how they're going to win, they just give up.
Well, you say that the fastest way to extraordinary success is to be committed to the routine of success. Yeah. Explain that, because the way you explain it, it really makes a lot of sense and should be a guiding principle for all of us.
So I've written 1,000 leadership articles in a little over 3 years, and people ask me, wow, that's amazing. How do you do 1,000 articles? That's so many. And the answer was one a day. For 1,000 days.
Well, yeah, you talk about big success. To get there, you have to compile a lot of small, littler successes. So it just builds. You didn't sit down one afternoon and write 1,000 articles.
No, I just did one a day. And then when you get to the end of the week and you've done 7, it's like, oh, wow, I've done 7. And then at the end of the month, oh, wow, I've done 30. And somebody said to me, somebody asked me, what did you do? Did you write one a week? And I said, if I'd have written one a week, that would have taken me 20 years. But because I did it one a day, I did it in just a little over 3. So a lot of things, there's things that we can do that we often think, oh, I'll just do it once a week or twice a week. But if we do it daily, we can really achieve some amazing things. Any problem, if you fix 1% every day, in 100 days, it's solved.
Great information like that available in the new book, Fast, 4 Principles Every Business Needs to Achieve Success and Drive Results. Fast: focus, accountability, simplicity, and transparency. A couple minutes left in the program, and you give a great deal of success to your wife. Talk about that, her encouragement and being there for you. A lot of the leadership skills that you have, you feel she was right there along the way with you.
Yeah. So again, that comes back to that shift from leading from the front, because when I used to do that, I felt that the best way to get people motivated was to lead the charge. And once I started, my wife's Belgian, so once we started, moving overseas and meeting different cultures, she really encouraged me to be a lot more open and caring and affectionate towards the team. Almost loving the people that I worked with and creating an environment where people felt really safe and secure working for me, that I would protect them and take care of them. So not just in terms of I'm going to help create a plan that we believe in, but that I'm going to be there for you, emotionally, physically. Right. And that had a transformative effect on how people reacted. People started to volunteer to work weekends and longer hours. I wasn't looking for them to do that, but as we started to build that, much stronger relationship, I found that people would follow me a lot quicker to some really tough destinations.
It's an excellent book, Fast, 4 Principles Every Business Needs to Achieve Success and Drive Results, by the way, a CMI Management Book of the Year finalist. Our guest on the program is the author, Gordon Tredgold. His website is gordontredgold.com. That's Tredgold. Fast is available all across the country, and you can link on directly to Gordon's website by going to our website, thisweekinamerica.us. Gordon, a pleasure to have you on the program. Thank you so much for sharing some time with us today.
Oh, you're welcome. And what I can tell people is that if they do take the FAST approach, what they'll do is they will find that people will want to work for them. They'll love to work for them. They'll be engaged. They'll be excited. They'll be optimistic. And when you've got a team that feel like that, they can move absolute mountains.
The book is Fast. Gordon Tredgold is the author. It's available all across the country. Go to our website, thisweekinamerica.us, and you can link on directly to Gordon's website. You're listening to This Week in America, and we're back after these messages.